Kia ora Year 12. I'm making this very quick video on 4 of the cubic graphs from Mr. Hurring's red and blue graphs worksheet. So I'm going to do this in about 10 minutes, so it might be a little bit faster than I've been doing before. If you're comfortable though with the quadratic ones, you should be starting to find these ones pretty easy. So I'm not going to talk too much about the features in here, except to say that on these first two, the domain and range, well, the domain in here has got no limitations in it. Okay, and the range hasn't either. Okay, so the domain is just going to be for each of these x is all real numbers, and then the range we're going to read off the graph. So looking at that blue one straight away, the range for this one is all real numbers, and the same for the red one. And the next ones, it'll get a little bit more complicated. So looking first at the blue graph, what are the roots? Well, the roots are -2, 0, and 3, and the pattern is up, down, up, so we know that k will be greater than 0. Now I'm doing this at school and I haven't got a stylus, so I'm just apologise now for the shocking handwriting that we've got here. Okay, so moving that up a bit, what's the equation going to look like? Well, I'm going to have this form for the blue one. Y is equal to the scale factor k times x plus 2 times x minus 3. Now just people in my class just notice that that x is coming in because I've got 0 as one of the roots. So I've got 3 roots here. I haven't got a bounce one, so it's pretty straightforward. The next thing we need to do is to find a blobby point to work out what the stretchy scale factor is. So the blobby point that I'm going to use is 1 and -6, which is here. Where's it gone? Yep, down here. So there's 1 and -6 there. The other one that you might want to use is you could do this one here, which is -1 and 4. Right, either of them is going to give you the same answer. So substituting in now, what do we get? Well, we get -6 is equal to k times 1 times 1 plus 2 times 1 minus 3. -6, this is painful, but you've got to do it slowly. So k times 1 times 3 times -2, so we're back to year 9. Just moving that screen down a bit, we get -6 is equal to -6k. -6 divided by -6 is k. So this is a nice easy one where k is equal to 1. Right, let's put that all back together. That gives me an equation of y is equal to x times x plus 2 x minus 3. So the x-intercepts in there are 0, -2 and -3. And moving back up, let's just look at where the centre of rotation is. So the centre of rotation, let's get rid of those marks, is going to be halfway between the minimum and the maximum. So the best way to do this accurately is actually to use your graphics calculator. And on your graphics calculator, you can find the max and the min once you've drawn the graph, and then you want to find the x value halfway in between those 2 points. So here it's going to be pretty close to halfway between -1 and 2. So it'll be about at 0.5. So your centre of rotation is going to be about here. But to find that value exactly, the x coordinate will be halfway between here and here. And we get the y coordinate here by going back to the equation, right? So we go back to this equation and we substitute in the x value that we want, and that will give me the y value. Right, let's look quickly now at the next one. Okay, so this one's got a bounce in it. I'm actually going to do this one and then upload because I need to get to staff briefing. I can't be late. So I'm going to do this one in about 3 minutes. This next one is pretty straightforward. As long as you recognise the pattern, which is that we've got a repeated root at x equals 1. So we've got this bouncy thing going on here, and then we've got another root out here. So this time, the pattern we're going to have will be y is equal to k times x minus 1 squared times x minus 5. We're going to choose a blobby point to substitute in, and the easiest one to use here is the y-intercept. Right, so the y-intercept is at 0, 5. So we're going to substitute 0, 5. 5 is equal to k times, what have we got? Well, 0 minus 1. Whoop. Must remember to bring the stylus to school, right? So k times -1 squared times 0 minus 5, which is -5. And that gives me 5 is equal to k times 1 times -5. So 5 is equal to -5k. Right, let's get rid of this mess from the last one. So that gives me a value of k here, of k equals -1. So my equation is y equals negative x minus 1 squared times x minus 5. Now let's just go back up to the graph and look at why that makes complete sense. Well, you can see that in here, the red one has got a different pattern. Hey, for anyone watching this, I'm really sorry about all the seasick making, bumping around of the screen, but it's quite weird doing this with no stylus. So you can see in the blue one, the pattern that we've got is the usual up, down, up, and so we get k is positive. But for this one here, where it's down, up, down, we get k is less than 0. So that's all I'm going to do for now. I'll come back and do some of the other ones later on today, maybe at interval, and then after that I'll look at the exponentials. Thanks for watching.